Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with more Echoes of Experience. Today, we're going to be talking about communication and emotional maturity. Now, what inspired this thought was a TikTok video of this lady who I believe is still currently married. I'm not really sure. But in her video, she was talking about her husband. She had this, she had a bad dream. And when she wakes up, of course, she wakes up in a bad mood, and her husband asked her, "What's wrong?" And she, she said, "Nothing. I'm fine." So he asked her again, like, "Hey, I can really tell that something is bothering you. Like, what's going on?" And she said, "Nothing. I'm fine." And then he went on with his day, as he should. He's got shit to do. She took that as he didn't ask me 3 times consecutively. He doesn't give a shit about me. let me just let me just stop right there because to me that is immature as fuck. Like, why are you playing games? Especially with someone you're married to who's supposed to be your lifelong teammate, you know? Why are we playing games? Why is this a situation that you feel you need him to prove to you by asking a certain number of times a certain question that he gives a shit? Like that doesn't make any sense. If you need reassurance, you should be able to ask your partner for reassurance, and there shouldn't be an issue with that. If if I ask you what's going on and you tell me nothing, but I can clearly tell that something is bothering you, you are not your normal day-to-day self, I'm going to ask you, are you sure? Because it doesn't seem, you don't seem like you today. And if you still tell me nothing, I'm going to move the fuck on with my day. I'm not here to play 20 questions and be like, what's going on? Or figure out some kind of mystical way I need to ask you this stupid, simple question to figure out what's going on. I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be anybody in my life. I'm asking you twice. And if you tell me the second time that nothing is wrong, okay. I could tell you're full of shit, but I'm gonna move on with my day because I'm not playing this game. I don't care. It's not that I don't care about you, it's that I don't care to play this fucking game. I don't give a shit. It takes more time and more energy for me to play this little chess game with you than it would if I just went on with my day and dealt with the you don't give a shit about me later. However, since I brought that up, let me make another point. If you are the kind of person who does this and then later on claims that your partner doesn't give a shit about you, you are the problem. There there is something that you're clearly not dealing with, and there's some reflection and growth and accountability that needs to be had because that's not right. It's not right at all. I get it if you would act like that as like a teenager. I could see that. But we're adults, you know? Everybody I know is mid 20s or above, except for like 2 people. And they're more mature than a lot of people I've seen on TikTok in their 30s. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of ridiculous to me that someone could be 18 years old and be more mature than someone who's 30. And I understand it all comes down to circumstances and how they were raised and factors of life. But if you are 30 and still acting like you're 16, I think there's a problem. I think there's a big problem. Um, I don't know how many people who know me watch this stuff, but when I was 16, I was like a little bit more mature than most people in my class, like my high school class, but I I was not a very generally mature person. And sometimes I'm still not. But I know when I'm gonna play a game and I know when I'm not gonna play a game. And most of the time I don't fucking care to play games. The games I care to play are on my computer. You know? Why are we gonna do this with our partner? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially with someone who is there to be your lifelong partner. You are married or you're engaged and plan to be married. And I separate engaged and planned, already have planned to be married, because some people get engaged and never fucking get married. Um, which is another weird topic, but that's another video. And I have definitely been an immature person. And sometimes I still am. I have things that I need to grow from. I have things I need to heal from, but I recognize that. You know what I mean? Whereas most of these people on social media who, with a bold face, full chest, everything, say that their partner doesn't give a shit about them because they didn't ask him a question 3 times, it's a little ridiculous to me. There's no way to spin that. It's just ridiculous. Thinking that way is, I don't like using the word toxic, but for lack of a better word, that's what it is. So let's stop playing the games with our partners. Because why the fuck? What are we doing? Even if you are in the courting phase and someone does this to you, because in your courting phase, in your dating stage of a relationship, that's your foundation, right? That is what you are going to build the rest of your relationship onto. And if it's rocky, your foundation is rocky, it's real bumpy, it's unlevel, it's all fucked up, there's cracks in the middle, it's not going to last very long. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to replace a foundation once it's been built in a relationship. I think it's really important to build a rock solid foundation. No cracks, no whittling, weathering. Weathering is the word. Whittling is wood carving. Um, None of that. You know, I don't see the point in building a foundation on something that is going to break 3 months from now, let alone trying to marry someone. You know what I mean? I don't care who it is. If you're in the dating stage and someone does this to you, you have you have two options. You can allow them to do that once and give them the chance to grow from it, or fucking leave. On to the next one. Because is it really going to be worth your peace? Is it going to be worth, the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Nothing but drama and pain. They do nothing to grow. They do nothing to change. Like, I think everybody needs to change at some point or another. You know what I mean? I don't think it depends on your age. I think it depends on your circumstances, personally. Um, Unless, like I said, you get to 30 and you're acting 16. then there's a problem. Now, how I think that conversation should have gone, but between this wife and husband, she wakes up in a shitty mood. She's not doing well. Husband asks, "Hey, babe, what's wrong?" She says, "Whatever the fuck is wrong," and communicates her feelings. I had a bad dream, or I didn't sleep well, or your farts keep me awake at night. Like, I don't fucking know, but whatever the issue is, that needs to be relayed. Like, why beat around the bush if this is your lifelong partner? You know what I mean? If I am gonna marry someone, I have to know first and foremost I can tell them anything and it not turn into an argument, it not turn into something being held again over my head. It has to be a situation where I can come to my woman with anything, whether that's an issue in the relationship, it's an issue at work. I just want a bitch, you know, because I am that person for people. I don't give a fuck if we have an issue. Let's work it out. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out the solution. You know what I mean? I don't care if I'm doing something wrong. I want to be called out on my bullshit, but I want it to be a conversation, not an argument, because arguments are never constructive, and they you never really find a resolution whenever things get past a certain point in an argument because everybody's heated. Nobody wants to have the conversation anymore. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that husband who goes to his wife or wants to go to his wife but can't because it's a constant argument or it's held over his head because he was being vulnerable with his wife. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person. So whoever it is that I'm going to be married to will be the person that I can go to anything with, and I'm going to make sure of that way before marriage is even on the table. Because it seems really dumb to me to be with someone, and I've already done this. This is why it's stupid to me. It's really dumb to me to be with someone who is going to mock you or hold it over your head or start an argument over every little issue that you may have with or without it being in the relationship. And um, it just gets shit on. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person. I fucking refuse. I've been that person before. A good 6, 7 years ago. And I'm not doing it again. That is something I refuse to do. I'm gonna be that person who's gonna come to my woman after a certain point whenever we're able to have those conversations when we're at that comfort level with each other. That's when I'm gonna actually start like venting about real shit whenever I need to vent about real shit. You know what I mean? Because and depending on what happens, if that gets held over my head and turns into an argument way down the road, or if it gets thrown down into my face, like that's it. I will not tolerate it, and I don't think anybody should. I feel like that's one of those things. I don't care if it's a man or a woman who does this to you, who deserves your time or your peace. Um, Now, I like giving second chances. I like giving third chances if I can see that there's growth there. If I can see that this isn't going to be a repeating problem, then okay, fine. Um, Beyond that, if it goes past second or third, I almost knocked a fucking can full of Coke over. If it goes past a second or third time and I'm getting mocked or shit's getting thrown in my face because I was being vulnerable with my woman, I'm leaving. I feel like everybody should be doing this. Also, if you're going to get married, sign a fucking prenup. So, in the event of a divorce, I'm not saying it's guaranteed by any means, but in the event of a divorce, you can go through with the divorce with this legal document, this legally binding document that gives you an agreement that you get to keep your shit. All premarital assets go to whoever they belong to. If you have marital assets, like you start a business together, split them down the middle. You know, like, it's not a hard thing. I understand that there are negative connotations with a prenuptial agreement. I get it. But they're there for a reason. They're there to protect the both of us. It's not just me, it is the both of us. Let's say, for an example, I got married to a woman who owns her own business, right? 5-6 years go by. Things don't work out because of whatever reason. We had signed a prenup because I've always been a believer in we get to keep our own shit. I worked for this, you worked for that. She gets to keep her business, and I get to keep everything I had. Kind of seems like a no-brainer to me, you know? Especially if you're going to marry someone whose manipulation tactic is waiting for you to ask a question multiple times before they tell you what the issue is. Oh, I was going to tell him on the third time. Shut the fuck up. No, you weren't. If you're not going to tell him the first or the second time, you're not going to fucking tell him. If you're not ready to have a conversation, that's another story. Have the conversation later. Babe, I'm not ready to have this conversation right now. Can we talk about this later? Fine. No man is going to be like, no, we need to talk about this right now, unless it is such a pressing issue that it is going to fuck with our day. You know what I mean? Whether that be it prevents us from getting things done or prevents us from being a husband to you, whatever. It can wait if there are things that we need to do before we have this conversation, or you just aren't ready to have the conversation. It can wait. But what I will not accept, and what I hope nobody, husband or wife, man or woman, whatever, what I hope nobody accepts is manipulation like that, or a lack of communication, or taking something as not giving a shit when they took the time out of their day to ask you in the first place. You know what I mean? Shit like that doesn't make sense to me. Because why do I, as your husband, have to why do I have to play games with you just to have a conversation? Your feelings are hurt, let's talk about it. You had a bad dream, okay, let's talk about it. You just woke up in a shitty mood, we don't have to talk about it, but let me do something. Take you for breakfast. Rub your fucking feet after we get off of work, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Like, there is no reason to make things, especially in relationships, complicated. Absolutely no reason. And I don't understand where the narrative comes from that it has to be complicated, because it doesn't. We've already talked about this. And here, we've already talked about this. Relationships can be hard, but they are not fucking complicated. It's not complicated at all. So, if you have someone in your life like this, tell them in a constructive way to grow the fuck up. Have them do the reflection. and do the growth. And maybe you will see them grow up and be a different kind of person. Anyway, that's all I got for that one. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I apologize for the space in videos. It is life's not been very nice to me, but it's my own fault because I said I was gonna do at least once a week, and I didn't fucking do that last week. So you're getting 2 videos, maybe 3 this week. So I will see you guys in the next one.